When you come across a great film or video, you may or may not realize that you're not just watching the video, but you're also listening to the video or film. I know that may sound like an oversimplification or that I'm stating the obvious, but you'd be surprised at how often people overlook the sound quality of their own instructional videos or YouTube videos, what have you. Audio is at least 50% of what we perceive as professional looking video. It's a huge part of what separates amateur video from, again, what we perceive as professional video. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 ways to capture video or capture audio. I'm going to teach you the pros and cons of each. And at the end, I'm going to give you my personal recommendation of which one I think you should start with. But before we do that, what's going on, folks? Josh here, back in the dojo. I'm wrapping up a long day of filming and editing. This is today's dinner. I started this ASMR thing series maybe like 2 days ago, where I eat, talk about the ingredients and things like that. So I wanted to continue with that. Now, the other 2 ASMR videos I did, it was based on the nutritional value of my meals. So we won't talk about we won't spend a lot of time on what's in the bowl. But I wanted to try it out, keep it, bust the grub while we chop it up. You know what I'm saying? The parent topics of all of my content will be things that have to do with health, wellness, mental health, exercise, right? Diet, nutrition, meditation, things like that, because that's a huge part of my career and my background. But then we'll also cover topics, which is a huge part of my background now, or has been for about 10 years, probably a little bit longer, 10 years, but film, videography, graphic design, content creation, websites, gear, all things like that. So even though this video won't be about nutrition, I'll still share with you what it is that I'm eating, because a big part of me being able to be creative and having the energy and the focus to, run a business and, do art, market, connect with people, and network has to do with how I take care of myself, right? My self-love. So what I'm eating here for a while now, I've been doing intermittent fasting, and exercising. So this is my one big meal of the day. I worked out earlier, so now I have a little appetite. So these are wheat noodles, flat wheat, I think fettuccine noodles, sautéed mushrooms, shallots, and what else did I put in? So red onions with some nutritional yeast, some Caesar salad dressing, some pepper, some Himalayan sea salt, and I think 1 or 2 other things. And this is the vibe for today. This is what we're rocking out with. I'm gonna do a little bit of ASMR. But anyway, first of all, let me make sure this is recording, because that would suck if it wasn't. So, okay, boom. So let me give you what I promised you I'd give you. So the setup that you're looking at now, one, I'm using 3 cameras, just like sort of 4. There's my GoPro 360. There's my Canon 77D. I'm recording audio into Zoom, or even though I won't use that video, it's capturing the audio from this microphone. And then I have my iPhone, which is capturing audio from my lavalier mic, which is right here under my neck. All right, so now the 4 ways that you can capture audio, all right, are as follows. The first way is the native microphone that's built into your phone, or your camera, your DSLR camera, or whatever camera you decide to use, right? There's usually always a mic. Usually, I think some older models didn't have them, which is ridiculous. But this is the native microphone that's built into your phone or your camera. What are some of the pros of using the microphone that's built into your camera? Well, for one, it's free. If you already have the phone or you already have the camera, There's no additional purchases that you have to make to capture your audio. You just press record and get after it, right? Was another con. I mean, pro is zero setup. Like I said, you don't have to adjust any levels. You just press record and you get to talking or whatever it is that you're doing, right? Which may seem like a good thing, which it is a good thing, right? Depending on the circumstance. But one of the main drawbacks, now we'll get into a con, one of the main drawbacks of using the audio that's native to your phone or your DSLR camera is that it picks up a lot of ambient noise. Ambient noise is just noise that's in the room. So for example, and also in this podcast, I'm going to switch between the audio, the microphones, so you can hear the differences, right? And sort of come to your own conclusions. Now, I have a space heater on underneath me. Oh, you know what? Actually, well, I'll use, boom. I thought I made a mistake for a second. I'm going to use the audio that's coming out of the GoPro 360 because this is the only camera I have set up that's not hooked up to a mic. So I'm going to give you a chance to see how that sounds. And you'll see, again, it's not horrible. I actually think the iPhone and like smartphones, they do a decent job at capturing audio, depending on where you are though, okay? So again, the native microphone picks up it'll pick up your voice, but it'll also pick up the sound of the room. And depending on how the room is treated, meaning if there's a lot of furniture in the room or if there's no furniture in the room, how bare the walls are, right? If there are curtains or anything, this is going to either help or harm the quality of your audio because again, it picks you up, but it also picks up the ambient noise in the room. Okay, now, right, that's a con, right? Like I said, I have the space heater on, and I'm assuming that this camera is going to pick up the sound of that space heater, whereas some of these other mics will not. The camera, I mean, the microphone on DSLRs are usually horrible. I even feel comfortable saying that it's worse than the microphones on your phone. The native mics on the DSLR cameras are just like non-usable for the most part, right? But if you had to use it, do your thing, right? So those are the pro. The pro, free, no zero setup, right? But the con, it picks up the ambient noise, and could be a distraction for like your guests or the people that are watching your videos and things like that, right? You don't really have control over the sound, right? So now, moving right along, a shotgun mic. So I have a shotgun mic on top of this camera right here. All right, let me move this real quick. Let me show you that shotgun mic. See that? Is that picking it up? Yeah, that's a shotgun mic. Okay. Now, what are the pros of a shotgun mic? Well, a shotgun mic isolates your voice. Okay. Why is that important? Well, you have a bit more control over the sound quality. Excuse me, because the things that are outside of the line of direction of the microphone will not be picked up as much. You may still hear some ambient noise if you're outside, if depending on where you are, you will still hear some of that noise. But whatever directly in front of the microphone, it will pick up it'll pick that up the best. Okay. So that's a really good pro, is that it isolates your voice. It's great for vlogging, right? So you can run and gun. Also, speaking of run and gun, if you do need multiple, if there's different things you're recording that you need to record audio from, meaning if it's like you and another person and, you may be going into a cafe, you want to be able to pick up their sound, you can just point the microphone at them and it'll, again, isolate their voice and pick them up more than it will pick up the ambient noise, depending on where you are. Now, here's one of the cons. And when I say cons, I'm sort of using these like terms loosely too, setting you up. One of the cons is that more times than not, there's going to be some form of financial investment. You have to pay for these microphones. They can be relatively inexpensive, or they can get really, really expensive depending on the quality, the range that you'll get from the microphones, and so on, right? And another con is that you're somewhat limited to where you can go in relation to your camera. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stand up because this microphone. Well, maybe I won't have to. I'll do it anyway. This microphone is a little bit higher than me right now. Typically, you want the microphone pointed at your face, like your mouth, because again, what's in front of the mic, it'll pick it up the best. So what I'm going to do is stand in front of it. I'm going to talk a bit so you can hear that quality, but then you'll see how much quality the audio loses as I start to back away from it. So bring this with me. So this is the audio from the shotgun mic, right? I adjusted the levels earlier. This is the audio from the shotgun. Well, do I need that? Yeah. This is the audio from the shotgun mic. I adjusted the levels earlier. So what you're hearing should be decent. Maybe picking up some of the sound of the space heater that's beneath me, or maybe it isn't. Now, this is great. Now, here's where it starts to become a problem. If I wanted to step back a bit from the microphone, right, and talk over here, I'm still talking. The camera can't, the microphone is picking me up, but as you can tell, it's not as close, it's not as loud, right? It's probably a bit more airy. I'm pretty sure you can hear me. And then especially if I start to move over here, you'll hear me even less because I'm not even in the direction of the microphone. So I can be on the side of the microphone and it still won't pick me up as much as when I'm in front of the microphone. You see what I mean? So yeah. Is that rain? I think it just started to flood outside. But yeah, so that's the shotgun microphone. Again, the Pro, great for run and gun. It isolates your voice a lot more than just using the native phone microphone or the camera microphone. Con, costs some money. Could cost a lot of money, depending on what you need. And you're limited to where you can go as far as being in front of the camera. Being on the side, whatever audio you want to pick up has to be directly in front of the microphone. So that's that. That's a shotgun microphone. The third microphone is what I have hooked up to my phone right now. And that's a lavalier microphone, which I love. Here is one of the receivers. There's two receivers and one transmitter. The transmitter is hooked up to the camera. That's the transmitter. And you can see my audio levels bounce up and down as I talk. Okay. This is the wireless Go 2 system. This is the other, and it comes with two receivers. This is one, and the other one is here, as you can see, under my neck. Love lavalier microphones. Why? Let's talk about some of the pros. Well, depending on which lavalier mic you get, you're really not limited to where you can be placed or where you place yourself, right? So for example, when I use the shotgun microphone, I have to be relatively close to it. Even when I use the native microphone, right? The farther away I get, the less quality I get. Now with a lavalier microphone, and specifically a wireless lavalier microphone, I can step away. Now I'm going to switch to the wireless microphone. So as you can see,
no matter where I go, right, in relation to the camera, it's picking me up. Why? Because the microphone comes with me. It's right under my neck. Okay, so this is great for, there's many applications where you can use this, but if you're a personal trainer, if you teach, right, and you don't necessarily want to have to be right in front of your camera, you can do more in the field things as you teach or as you do your explainer videos or whatever it is you're doing reviews, whatever it is that you're doing. You have a little bit more, a lot more, not even a little bit, a lot more range as to where you can go and what you can do when you have a wireless lavalier microphone. All right. Let's see. A con, and again, I'm using these terms loosely.
And we're back to the dynamic microphone. A con, it can be pricey. It can be cheap too. It can be cheap too, but usually the cheaper they are, that means you're tethered to a wire. That it probably won't be wireless if you're getting it super cheap, right? Which again is fine, right? Because I think probably more times than not you'll be relatively close to the camera when you're doing your videos, but it is a really nice touch to not have to worry about any wires and not have to be tethered to anywhere specifically in relation to the camera. You can literally be anywhere. The camera doesn't even have to be pointed at you, and it can still pick up your audio. What else we have here? Right. Okay, right. And it can be pricey. They range from, I've seen some from as cheap as, $10, $12, $15, all the way up to probably hundreds, if not thousands. I'm not sure if I've seen some for over 1,000, but I'm pretty sure there are higher quality lav mic systems that can cost that much. This system that I have is $300, and well worth every penny. I won't give you like the full review, but I mean it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite things I use to capture audio. Right. So again, Pro isolates your voice. You're not tied to the camera. Bit of a financial investment. And to be honest, to me, there's really no cons with the lav mic, to be honest. And now, last but not least, just so you know, to another that matters, if this goes according to plan. Can you hear me chewing? So you can hear that. The reason why you can hear that so well is because of the shotgun mic, because it's pointing this way. The dynamic microphone, which I'm about to go into too, now it will pick up the chewing of the right in front of it, but not as much as that shotgun mic. The shotgun mic picks up more ambient noise. This bad boy right here, the dynamic microphone, is for the most part pro level. Look, don't get me wrong. You can make the quality, the sound quality, good with all the options, right? The lav mic is pro level. The shotgun mic can be pro level. The phone, be close enough to it, can be decent, serviceable. DSLR, I'm not so sure. But when you hear radio shows, radio broadcasts, different podcasts, 9 times out of 10, they're using a dynamic microphone. Okay? So there's a difference. It's like a condenser microphone, which some of them look similar to a dynamic microphone. Here's the difference though. It's good. Here's the difference. A condenser microphone has more of an omnidirectional sound. So it will, if you're close to it, it will pick up your voice similar to the shotgun mic where it picks you up more than it picks up the ambient noise, but it will still pick up some of the ambient noise. Okay. But condenser microphones are great. I think that's what most people use when they do ASMR. They usually use a shotgun mic or they use a condenser microphone because it will pick up some of the ambient noise. Now, a dynamic microphone, it just sounds sexy. You know what I mean? Doesn't it though? Like when you hear like a good podcast or a radio channel, I mean, it just sounds like what we perceive as like high quality because it is. So without going into a bunch of the details, here's the gist of it. A dynamic microphone works best when you're in front, when you're talking in front of the microphone. So similar to the shotgun mic, if I start to come over here, right? Hopefully it can still hear me. But as you can tell, it's not as clean, right? It's not as clear what I'm saying, right? It may sound muffled, right? But when I come back in front of the microphone, it sounds like a radio show guy or a professional podcast. But again, if I turn away, it's not going to pick me up as much because I'm not right in front of the dynamic microphone. So this is great for, when you're doing a podcast or radio show, you don't want to hear the ambient noise in the room, right? And things like that. And those rooms are treated too. Excuse me, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, the dynamic microphones are awesome. The Pro is just top quality, top notch. Sounds warm, sounds great. Great quality sound, kills the sound of the room. Like I know this microphone isn't picking up the space heater at all, not even a little bit. All right. Um, Con though, if we want to call it a con, and again I'm using that loosely, costs some money. Now they range, right? Relatively inexpensive. I mean, they can somewhat be relatively inexpensive. My other dynamic microphone is a Rode, same company that makes um, the lav mic I just showed you. And I think that's $99, and this is good, top quality, right? This is I think it was $100 more than that. The Samsung Q9U. I think the other mic is called the Rode Pod mic, if I'm not mistaken. And then the standard, the gold standard, right, is what people call. I think it's called the Shure microphone. That's like if you have a radio show, ESPN, whatever, like certain podcasts, like those are the microphones that they're using. But this does pretty much the same thing in my opinion, but I could save tons of money by going this route. Okay. So that could be considered a con. And obviously, well, I guess depending on how you want to rock out with the microphone, you're somewhat limited to where you can go. But these are for the most part desktop microphones, or desk microphones. Like you need like a table or platform to put it on, or whether you hook up your boom arm, right, and hook it up. So again, these are podcast microphones, broadcasting microphones. They're not really meant to be walked with and things like that. So that could be considered a con, but not really, right? To be honest, right? If you buy one of these, you probably are looking to sit down at a table and talk to guests, or share your thoughts like I'm doing right now. So right. So now, no matter what, before I get into which one I recommend, no matter what, all right, no matter which one you choose, whether you're doing the native phone mic or the DSLR microphone, whether you do the shotgun microphone route, whether you go with the lavalier microphone, or whether you do a dynamic microphone or condenser microphone, the environment that you're in is going to play a role in the sound quality that you get. So, for example, if I had, let's say, an iPhone, right? If I just use an iPhone, the microphone is in an iPhone, but I'm in a room that's like really treated. There's like curtains and carpet on the floor and furniture, right? And things on the wall and things like that, right? It's not like an empty house, right? And I'm in front of the microphone. That's going to do a decent job, as opposed to, let's say, if I had a shotgun microphone, right? But I'm in an empty hallway that has nothing in it. It's like, tile on the floor. The walls are bare, right? And there's like a reverberation in there. Not that it'll sound bad, but it probably won't sound as good as the iPhone in that other environment, because the other environment is treated. You know what I mean? Same thing with the lavalier mic, right? If I have a lavalier mic and it's on me, right, depending on the quality of the lavalier mic, it may not sound as good if I'm in, there's a bunch of noise around me, right? As opposed if I had a shotgun mic in a nice, quiet, treated bedroom, right? The dynamic microphone. I think these really do a great job, almost like no matter what environment you're in. To be honest, that's why they can cost so much. But I would even but I think though, if I had a dynamic microphone in a room that's like treated or has some, things in the room to sort of like not let the sound bounce all over and you get that like hallway sounding reverb. That situation as opposed to being in a room that's not treated, like again, like a hallway or being outside or being in the noisy area. Um, so that microphone, I mean, that camera stopped because the memory card ran out. So we're gonna rock out here. I'm about to wrap this up anyway. But so yeah, so as far as recommendations, this is what I recommend. To be honest, the best microphone is the one you have available to you and the one you're willing to use to start creating your content and get your message out there immediately. That's going to be your best microphone. I know this probably wasn't the answer you were like quite looking for. Um, that probably wasn't the answer you were looking for. But that's the honest to God truth, right? If you can afford, right, to start making an investment in a microphone, obviously it depends on your situation. If you're more of a vlogger, if you're more run and gun, you can probably do a shotgun microphone and be great, right? Or if you're sitting down at a desk, right, you won't be moving a lot of places. A shotgun mic will work great. Or maybe you want to use a lavalier microphone, so you can use it and sitting down stationary in front of a microphone, a camera. But maybe you want to move a bit more, right, and do some more dynamic video capture, like some demonstrations or some walkthroughs or whatever it may be, right? Or you may feel like, listen, I'm a podcaster, or I want to start a podcast. I'm going to be sitting at my desk, and I want the I don't want to have to worry about too much about the treatment of the room, but I want the sound quality to be like radio quality. Then you go with the dynamic microphone. There's really no absolute right or wrong answers, and that's across the board with photography, videography, a lot of creative skill sets. It all just depends, right? What do you need it for? How much do you have? How much can you invest? Um, are you thinking short term or are you thinking long term, right? These are questions you really have to ask yourself before you can determine what's the best route for me to take. But if you want an answer, like a concrete answer, I would say get a lavalier microphone set, right? Specifically, you don't have to be this, right? There's like different variations. But if you're asking for like my honest to God recommendation, again, going back to what I said a couple of seconds ago, or you think a short term or long term, you really can't go wrong with these babies right here, right? Dynamic, the sound quality is warm. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna switch to that audio now.
So now you're hearing the Rode, you're hearing this microphone here. These are amazing, right? They give you a backup channel. So if like there's some signals that are crossed as you're recording, it saves a backup copy for you. They're small. You can use these. These are the actual microphones, but you can also plug in a wired lav. So you will put this in your pocket, plug the wire into this and put it up to your shirt and have it on your chest. Like there's so many applications for this. You can also do podcasts with these because you have two. So you can have one, your guest can have one, and the other one will be, recording into whatever camera device you decide to use. But if you're asking me out of the four, if you have a little bit of money, right, to invest, which one would I recommend you invest in? I would say definitely get a wireless lavalier system because it sort of covers a lot of the ground, right? The things that you want to do, you don't really have limitations on the content that you can create. You know what I mean? So
let me go back to this mic right here. So that's it, crew. Again, let's just do a little summary. I hope this was valuable, right, to some extent. Audio is super, super important to the quality of your videos. At least 50% of of your video. The professional the whether it gives off an aura of like amateur hour, or whether people perceive it as being professional. A lot of that has to do with the quality of your audio. There's four ways, probably even more, but four ways that you can capture audio: the native camera microphone, a shotgun mic, which I just showed you minutes ago, lavalier system, right? Whether it's wired or wireless, I recommend the wireless, or whether it's a dynamic microphone. These are the ways that you can capture your audio. And I'm not saying the RECORDING word for a reason, because this, I don't even want to say the GoPro is voice activated. And if I say that word, I don't even want to say, but it'll cease to do the R word. All right. So, but either way, no matter what, wherever you are, whatever you have available to you now, get out there, speak. Don't be afraid to share your truth, to learn and to educate. Let people know how you can help them. Share your experiences, right? No matter the quality of your microphone. Try to make it good, but like just get out there, start to create, and over time, you do your gear upgrades, um, the camera, the audio, the lighting, whatever it may be. Start where you can, start to put the word out there, start to put your message out there, and let your gear grow with you and your message. You know what I'm saying? So hope this was helpful. If you like this kind of content, go subscribe, hit that like and share button if you would be so kind. As always, y'all, ABC, always be creating, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.